It's John Bowden. We're up to another series, this one on Foghat, where we talk to two members. First, Roger Earl, their original drummer, who's still in the band. We'll also talk to guitarist Brian Bassett, who's been with the band for quite a long time. But first, Roger Earl. And in this one, all the drummers' paradise, all the beautiful words you could say about a famous drummer who's sometimes given credit for being the best drummer in rock history, John Bonham. Roger Earl knew him going way back, had a chance to meet his son Jason. That came through Sammy Hagar, and there's a great Sammy Hagar piece in this. But Roger says something about John Bonham where he could do things with his hands and feet that others could not. Lots of great clips in this one. Roger Earl, Foghat, whose brand new album is called Sonic Mojo. There'll be links to their website where you can pick it up. Let's talk about Foghat, a British band that emerged in the early 70s, known for their blues-infused rock and boogie style. The group was formed in 1971 by former members of the blues rock band Savoy Brown. The original lineup included Lonesome Dave Peverett on lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Tony Stevens on bass guitar, Roger Earl drums, and Rod Price lead and slide guitar. The founding members were seasoned musicians. Lonesome Dave was known for his gritty style voice, energetic stage presence, and of course, a creative force in that band. Tony Stevens, as a bassist in this type of band, was crucial. Then Roger Earl, what a character. A very powerful drummer, and Rod Price's distinctive slide guitar, a trademark in the Foghat sound. As the popularity grew, of course, lineups changed. It is a rock band. Nick Jameson replaced Tony Stevens on bass and contributed to production. He was also a significant force on the band's biggest album, Fool for the City. And there was another replacement bassist, Craig McGregor. Like a lot of bands, they experienced their own strife and lineup changes, as mentioned. When Tony Stevens left because of creative differences and fatigue from the band's rigorous touring schedule. In the late 70s and early 80s, as the band's commercial success started to wane, more creative differences emerged, particularly between Peverett and the rest of the band. He left to create his own version of Foghat in the US, which caused a lot of confusion, and there were legal problems. The successes? Well, Foghat's discography has a lot of significant albums and singles. These are the tunes that cemented their success. Their third album, Energized, came out in 1974. It was their first to go gold, but it was their fifth studio album, Fool for the City, in 75, that brought them mainstream success. That's the one that featured their big hits, Slow Ride, often characterized as infectious. That riff is very catchy, of course, and it's still a mainstay on classic rock radio. Other notable albums, Foghat, the debut, in 1972, feature the popular track I Just Want to Make Love to You, which really showcased that blues rock roots. In 74 came Rock and Roll Outlaws with the track 8 Days on the Road. Night Shift from 76 continued their run of successful albums with that hit and a cool copy of Al Green's Take Me to the River. Their live album from 77 was very successful. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Charlie Hume, who collaborated with Ted Nugent, Humble Pie, and many others before joining Foghat in the year 2000. He was with them till 2022. As of 2022, the lineup for Foghat includes Roger Earl, who was with them right back to 1971, an original member, on drums. Brian Bassett, former Wild Cherry guitarist, yes, play that funky music, on lead and slide guitar and backing vocals. He joined in 1999. Rodney O'Quinn on bass guitar, and Scott Holt, lead vocals. Overall, their legacy as a powerful force in blues, rock, and boogie has always kept them on the pages of rock and roll magazines and websites all over the world. First time I heard Foghat, there was an announcer in my small town in eastern Canada, and he came on and he says, "Here's Slow Ride by Foghat."
Yeah, we've been called a few things. Forget it. No, it was Foghat. Yeah, it was. What is the name in the band? I mean, it's like, I don't know. It means us, I guess. It was weird, right? I mean, right at the beginning when we were trying to figure out a name for the band, we hadn't decided on a name. We finished the record, and myself and Dave and Rob Price, I was driving up to London to look at the artwork, and we still didn't have a name for the band. And we get there, and Dave said, "Well, what about Foghat?" Had actually come up once or twice, and it was better than whatever the other names were. It was it's only a name. There was a time when people thought it had like drug connotations because the initial drawing of Foghat had smoke coming out of his head on the first album, but no, we didn't do drugs.
I was talking to Rick Emmett of the band Triumph, right? And he just wrote a book. And Rick in his book has one chapter on Triumph. That's it. But interestingly, a lot of it circulates around Triumph. And I'm telling you this for a reason. Rick says he has rules of life. I asked him, I said, Rick, and I've talked to him 10 times. Rick, why are you still alive and a lot of your cohorts are dead? He said, well, I have rules to life. Delayed gratification. I won't eat my pie first. He says, I believe in learning how to say no. So, Roger, you're in the same boat. What are your rules to life? Why are you still here? Have your rules to your living, your life, helped you get here?
I say yes to everything. No, yes is my favorite. I love life. I try to stay healthy. I work out with light weights. I stretch. I walk. I don't run anymore. I play regularly. I practice on a pad and pedals. I take them on the road with me. And I haven't lost my real joy of playing and a joy for life. That's what I meant about the yes thing. Like the other night, I'm good friends with George Thorogood from the Destroyers, and good friends with their drummer. And they're about an hour. We're down in Florida at our studio, and they're on the other side of Florida. And so I said, "Yeah, let's go and see him." And Sammy Hagar was on the bill. He was closing the show. I hadn't seen Sammy in like 30 or more years, but we toured for a long time together when Sammy was in Montrose. So I got to see George and hung out with the band. I got up and played maracas on a song. I'm the official George Thorogood and the Destroyers maraca player. and then Sammy Hagar's wife is friends of a friend of my manager, my wife, my girlfriend. And she came out and said, would you like to come and say hello to Sammy? I said, yes, please. I haven't seen Sammy. And it was great. And then I said to Sammy, I said, could you do me a favor? Could you introduce me to your drummer? He said, yeah, come on in. Jason Bonham. Now, I knew his dad. And it was really cool, just hanging out. And Sammy said to me, he said, wow, he said, you look fine. I said, you look really nice too. No, but it was like, we take care of ourselves. We say yes to life. It's very vibrant. And anyway, I got a chance to talk to Jason. They were about to go on, but they went on and played, and they were incredible. George Thorogood and the Destroyers are a great band too. I mean, I love playing with them and listening to them. But Sammy Hagar's band, they were ripping. They got this guitar player that's incredible. The bass player, obviously used to be in Van Halen. And they were fantastic. And I got a real charge out of going out that night. We didn't get back home till like 1 or 2 in the morning. But had I said, no, I think I'll take a nap. No, I'd rather go see a couple of great rock and roll bands. It inspires you. Sammy was great. He sang great. The band was just ferocious. They got this great guitar player. What's his name? Vic, I think. First time I met him. Great band. I had a blast. That's what keeps me.
By the way, how well did you know John Bonham?
We did a bunch. When I was in Savoy Brown, we did a number of shows with Led Zeppelin. I met him then a few times. One time, twice, stay with me. We were doing a sound check. We were doing a show with Zeppelin, Savoy Brown, and Clive Bunker was the drummer. Anyway, Clive Bunker was playing drums. I was playing my drums. Bonzo was playing his drum kit. Jimmy Page was playing guitar, and there was a violin player from the opening act. It's a Beautiful Day, and we were jamming. And guess what? John Bonham drowned us both out, all of us. He was an incredible drummer. And another time I was hanging out with him in New York City, we were just down in the village. We were having a couple of beers, and he'd finished two bottles. He finished a couple of bottles of Heineken bottles, and he's playing drums with two Heineken bottles on the table. And not only was he playing drums, he was playing great. It was like that. I didn't break them. It wasn't like out of hand or anything. It was like the man had some real magic in his hands and his feet. He changed in a lot of ways how contemporary drummers look about playing in a band. I mean, his hands and his feet, his work. I mean, it's legendary amongst drummers. But yeah, I got to meet him. My feet don't work anything like his did. But it was really cool meeting his son briefly. But Jason is a fantastic drummer. He plays incredibly well with real fire and passion. Anyway, I can't say enough about Sammy Hagar's band. To put a really great band together is no mean feat. It's like, and Sammy has a great band. Everybody should go see Sammy Hagar.
But if you're in the dentist's office and someone next to you says, if someone next to you says, because your story's not small, it's a big story. If someone says, what do you even go there? Because then they'll say, well, would I know any music you have done? And of course they would. So if a stranger comes up to you and asks you what you do you tell them you're a musician? Because that leads to, well, what have you done that I might have heard of?
Yeah.
It's a long conversation at that point.
I do get people coming up to me from time to time, and especially on planes and stuff, and say, I know you. And I go, do you? No, I introduce myself. I say, I'm Roger. I play drums in a rock and roll band. That's if somebody says, I think I know you. But that's what I say. I'm Roger. I play drums in a rock and roll band. Actually, pilots always seem to know who we are. I guess they have a list of who's on the plane. But anytime the pilot is either a Foghat or a rock and roll fan, they'll say something like, we'd like to welcome Foghat on our plane today, our aircraft today. Yeah, right. And so, yeah, it's I have a great job, and 99.9% of the time it's very positive. You bump into people at airports and stuff. Of course, it shows it's a big deal, but people come up to you and go, aren't you?
Justin Hayward told me he was on the plane with a guy, and a guy says, and he saw it coming, and he could see what's going to happen with the guy beside him. He says, I know you. And Justin said, no, I what kind of business? Because he wouldn't give him anything. Justin wouldn't give him anything. And he says, well, what kind of business are you in? And the guy says, well, I'm in advertising. And Justin says, well, no, I don't know anybody in advertising. And he kept going, come on, help me out. I know you. And finally, after 3 times,
and he wouldn't.
Justin said, well, you might know me. I used to do a little show on the BBC, and I'm in this little band, he said, called the Moody Blues. And the guy looks at him and says, nah, that's not what it is. I know. By the way,
that first record, we had a helping hand from so many people. Dave Edmonds, of course, Todd Rundgren, my brother Colin played piano on some tracks. Couple of people there, couple of singers come in and would play congas and maracas and shake things with us and sing along. It was actually was a really cool time for us. When you're starting out with a new band, even though we had a record deal and we were playing, we still hadn't really played anywhere. Our previous manager, when we were in Savoy Brown, blackballed us in England. His name was Harry Simmons. He's no longer with us.
Is that why you
But we
left
left
Savoy Brown?
No, we left Savoy Brown because it was time for a change. And I remained friends with Kim Simmons, but his manager, his brother Harry, told us that we would never work in England or in the States again, which was kind of weird because if I was a manager, I would have said 3/4 of Savoy Brown's going to be a new band. Maybe I'll manage them as well. But no, he decided he would stop us from working anywhere, like we were going to be a problem. And I remember going to see our agency in England, Chrysalis agency, Terry Ellis and Chris Wright. I went to their house and talked to them and said, look, can you get us some dates? Because we'd sort of finished the album. We wanted to work. And they said, no, we can't, because Harry told them that if he booked dates for us, he would take Savoy Brown and Chicken Shack away from them, which was two of the biggest bands in England at the time. So, yeah, he was a real scumbag. He's no longer with us, so I don't miss him. No, we seem to find a way to make it work and really enjoy what we do. We have our own studio as well. In fact, we're at the studio at the moment down in Florida, and it's. I realized a long time ago that if you're going to continue to make music and be creative and be relevant, you have to have somewhere to make music. And when Lonesome Dave passed and Charlie Hume joined the band, I knew at the time we had to do something about making music, make the band relevant again. When you lose such a huge part of the band, such as Lonesome Dave, and he was, for us to sort of come back and do something, we had to like make music and become, relevant. It's the same nucleus of the band, an idea and our taste in music, but being creative is what it's all about. Maybe we only sell like 10, 20, 30,000 records now instead of a couple of million. It's but we're playing and we're making music. That's the juice that keeps you going. All music basically stems from blues. That's where it comes from. Blues, jazz, bebop, rock and roll, country, gospel, folk music, I guess. That's with the States. This is like this wonderful meeting of music, and it's given music to the world. It's the one thing that America has given to the world that is like timeless and nobody can like doubt its greatness, is music. Gave music to the world. Even to this day, it's the same thing. This country has given music to the world, and I'm glad to be part of it. I'm proud to be part of it.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that. Roger Earl is quite a character, huh? Still doing it after a lot of years. The only original member left in Foghat. There'll be links to Foghat in the description of this video. Also links if you want to help out the channel. We're in the process of changing our mics, and buying good mics are very expensive. So this little Yeti Blue is pretty good. We need a better mic than this. So if you want to help us out, you can make a donation on our PayPal page. There's links in the description. Also links to Patreon where you can get early access to all our videos. And remember to subscribe, click the notification so you don't miss a video. A lot of folks have a tendency to forget that. But click the bell notification, you'll get included in everything we do, and you can join our newsletter too. There's a link in the description where you can do that. Like our videos, comment on them, and share them on social media. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.